What's up, everybody? This is Mark Aguirre on the Geary Bulletin Tab Radio. You're listening to TAB.Live show. Thank you so much for joining. This is Tab Diverse Media Revolution. First off is Mitt Romney. He actually won Iowa and the New Hampshire primary, so he's in great shape for the Republicans. With all that being said, and putting that off to the side, there's an interesting story going out right now about Mitt Romney's heritage, his family. The story is that his great grandfather fled to Mexico. The reason is that Romney's grandfather did this, great grandfather did this, was to flee persecution, so-called persecution from America. Basically, they cracked down on laws regarding marriage between one man and one woman. Of course, as a lot of people know, Mitt Romney is a practicing Mormon, and of course, that stems from his family, and his great-grandfather was a practicing Mormon. And back then, and as a lot of people already know, Mormons believe that they can have multiple wives. That is their whole agenda in a sense. And Mitt Romney's grandfather fled to Mexico in order to practice his polygamy, to have multiple wives. And he did that there in Mexico, and I'm sure, he took his whole family and some other Mormons. And the crazy thing is, they stayed in Mexico for a long time, and Mitt's father was actually born there, and actually came to the States and got a job and worked his way up in the political sphere. And that's how Mitt Romney got there today, and that's how he is there today. So it's an interesting story, and I think what adds a little bit of weight to the story is this whole idea that Mitt is against the DREAM Act. He's said it many times in his campaign that he is against the DREAM Act, that he would veto the DREAM Act if it passed. And the DREAM Act is basically allowing children of unauthorized immigrants to have some sort of way to pay for school. Obviously, Mitt Romney is against that, and he's said before, this is a nation of laws, and he's really against undocumented immigrants. Let's get on to the next tab topic. You can send me your comments, questions, concerns about that. I'd be happy to answer that or clarify anything. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the next tab topic of the day, and that is this viral video going around right now on the internet. It's about a guy who's a spoken word poet, and he does a lot of creative, artistic videos on his YouTube page. His latest video has received a lot of buzz and attention on the internet, and like I said before, he's very creative. And in this latest video entitled Why I Hate Religion But Love Jesus, he basically goes after religion completely and gives a nice contrast, a nice comparison between Jesus and religion. And he is saying how religion kills and how religion can tie up people and make them, where they're in bondage in a sense, and he's just saying how Jesus makes you free, and everything Jesus is about mercy, grace, and bringing salvation and love to you, and religion is the complete opposite, and it is evil and wrong, and he hates it. And the whole time I was thinking about, there's some great points in there, some truths, but the fact is, to completely generalize religion and say it is wrong, it is bad, and Jesus came to abolish religion, like that was his main battle to defeat this horrible religion. Yeah, there were some religious people that were falsely accusing Jesus, the Pharisees, and some other religious people, but the main reason Jesus came was much more than that, and to completely use religion as a main subject to put Jesus against completely blows off this whole idea in James, which talks about religion, pure and undefiled religion that God accepts, is to care for the orphan, to care for the widow, to care for the needy person. That's basically what the orphan and the widow are. They're needy people. And pure and undefiled religion is to care for needy people, and also to keep yourself unspotted, unstained by the world. And in the previous part of that chapter, it says, if anybody thinks he is religious but does not bridle his tongue, does not keep a lid on his tongue, does not filter his words, then his religion's useless. And so it gives a good comparison there in James between man-made religion and religion that God accepts. And for this guy to completely throw all religion into one category and say religion has created all this wars, created all of this hate and animosity, and not caring for the poor, completely throws this whole James verse off. And that's what I was trying to say. He says, this is why I hate religion. Well, this is why I'm okay with religion, because it says in James 1:27 that pure and undefiled religion that God our Father accepts is to care for the needy and to keep yourself unstained by the world. So there's a sense that religion can serve a purpose with God, can serve a purpose for God, can serve God's purposes. And so that was the message, I believe, not presented in this YouTube video. All right, let's get on to the next tab topic, not spend so much time there. So this next tab topic I want to talk about very briefly. It's about Mexican-American studies in Arizona. There's a particular school that has been doing Mexican-American studies program, which basically gives the students a Mexican-American perspective on history. And the school that received the funding was federal funding. And I'm not sure who stopped it, but they stopped it because the reason was, you ready for this reason? The reason was they felt that this particular class, this particular program advocated and promoted hate towards another group. Can you believe that? Yeah, so you can imagine there are many students protesting and faculty protesting the decision made to stop the funding on this program. And I believe there's going to be an update this month, so I'll keep you guys updated about it. And you could read the full story on the Facebook or Twitter page. All right, so let's get into our last tab topics of the day. The first one is about a megachurch pastor in Texas saying that he will not use the NIV. That's right, he will not use the NIV translation in his sermon messages. He will not even read from it. It is that bad to him. He says it is inaccurate, and it is his job to, be accurate and be an effective communicator on the pulpit or in the pulpit, however way you see it. And so he will not be using the NIV. Some people say, there's concerns in the NIV over its gender issues. Last year it came out with a gender-friendly version, and a lot of people were really, really upset with that and kind of stayed away from the NIV for a while. And this guy's actually taking a stand and telling his church congregation that he will not be using it. Of course, his church will not be forcing his members to not use the translation, but of course they're advocating not to use for it. So there's that story. Very interesting, very fascinating. I'll keep you updated on that. You can check that out on that Geary Bulletin. Let's get into our last tab topic of the day, and that is tattoo ministry. Yeah, that is a bit of a stretch. I've never heard a story like this before, so it's fascinating to read and to talk about. There's a church in Michigan that actually opened up a tattoo parlor, a tattoo shop in their church building. And the pastor says it's a great way to bridge the gap between different cultures and different groups in the community. And he says, it's a great way to spread the gospel and to, keep the gospel message new and alive. And he believes tattoo ministry is one of those ways to keep it changing and keeping evangelism evolving. So that was his way of, calming any nerves about a tattoo ministry that people might have. Let's face it, a lot of Christians, a lot of people of different religions have tattoos about their religion. They have tattoos of their faith. They believe it's a way to artistically express their faith. So they get tattoos of scripture or maybe symbols or something like that. But to actually bring in a tattoo shop into your church building and call it a tattoo ministry is a bit of a stretch. Come on, there's so many ways to reach people, reach different groups, and to make tattoo ministry a priority and to bring it into your church building that is a stretch completely. What is the priority going on here? And are there different ways to reach the people with the gospel message? All right, so that's all the tab topics I have for you guys. It was a great show. You can check out last week's show with my brother guest talking about the Christian hip hop and the new surge of Christian hip hop that is going on right now. And you get his perspective on it. It's a great interview. Check it out last week. And you can check out all previous shows from last year on the YouTube. And I'll post and also on the YouTube page so you can listen to it whenever you want. And you can share it that way as well. So this is, again, Mark Aguirre from the Aguirre Bulletin. I am clicking out. Peace.